The strange part isn't that you wake up tired. It's that somewhere along the way you started believing it was normal. Every evening follows almost the same pattern. You finish dinner later than you intended. One last email turns into 3. A quick glance at your phone quietly becomes an hour of scrolling. By the time you finally switch off the light, your body is lying in bed, but your mind is still somewhere between unfinished conversations, tomorrow's responsibilities, and thoughts that refuse to settle. You close your eyes hoping sleep will erase the weight you've been carrying all day. Yet morning arrives and nothing feels restored. You slept long enough. According to every recommendation, you should feel refreshed. Instead, your body feels heavy. Your thoughts are slow, and the simplest task already seems to require more energy than you have. Most people assume this means they need more sleep. But what if the real problem begins long before your head touches the pillow? Modern life keeps the brain in a constant state of quiet alertness. Cortisol, the hormone designed to help us respond to danger, often remains elevated long after the day's challenges have passed. At the same time, the nervous system never receives a clear signal that it is safe to leave survival mode behind. Without that transition, deep restorative sleep becomes surprisingly difficult even if you spend 8 or 9 hours in bed. In Japan, many people approach the evening differently. They do not treat bedtime as the moment sleep begins. They understand that restful sleep is prepared gradually through a series of calm, intentional habits that gently guide both the body and the mind toward recovery. In this video, you'll discover 7 quiet Japanese practices that can completely change the way your body prepares for sleep. Stay with me until habit number 7, because it reveals the overlooked principle that quietly connects all the others. And it may explain why you've been waking up exhausted for years, even when you thought you were doing everything right. But before you change anything about your bedtime, there is one misunderstanding that needs to disappear first. Most people believe better sleep begins when they get into bed earlier. So they set an earlier bedtime, turn off the lights, close their eyes, and wait. Yet their thoughts keep racing. Their heart still feels slightly tense. Their body is lying still, but their nervous system is behaving as if the day has not ended. In Japan, the evening is not seen as a finish line. It is viewed as a gentle transition. Rather than forcing sleep to happen, many Japanese routines focus on preparing the mind and body long before the pillow is touched. The goal is not to fall asleep faster. The goal is to create the conditions that make deep sleep possible. Your brain cannot instantly shift from problem solving to restoration. Cortisol, often called the stress hormone, does not disappear simply because the clock says it is bedtime. If your nervous system has spent the last several hours responding to emails, making decisions, or absorbing constant stimulation, it remains on alert even after the lights go out. This is why trying harder to sleep often makes sleep even more difficult. Instead, create a small transition between your busy day and your night's rest. Spend the last 20 minutes before bed doing only quiet activities. Read a few pages of a book, stretch gently, or simply sit with a warm drink without looking at a screen. These simple moments tell your brain that nothing more is expected of it today, and sometimes that quiet message is far more powerful than going to bed an hour earlier. The second secret is this: close the day before you try to sleep. Most people bring their unfinished life into bed without realizing it. They lie down, but their mind is still holding open tabs. A message they forgot to answer. A task they should have finished. A conversation that did not end clearly. And because nothing has been mentally closed, the brain keeps working in the dark. This is one of the quietest reasons sleep becomes shallow. In Japanese thinking, there is deep respect for completion. Not dramatic completion, not finishing everything perfectly, but giving each part of the day a clear ending. A cup is washed after use. Shoes are placed back where they belong. A room is returned to order before leaving it. These small actions are not only about cleanliness, they teach the mind that one moment has ended so the next one can begin. Psychologists often describe this through the Zeigarnik effect. The brain tends to remember unfinished tasks more strongly than completed ones. This is useful during the day, but at night, it becomes a problem. Your mind keeps returning to what is unresolved because it believes it still needs to protect you from forgetting. So before bed, do not plan your whole future. Simply close today. Write down the 3 things still on your mind. Put tomorrow's first task on paper. Then leave it there. And once your mind no longer has to guard unfinished thoughts, the body can begin to soften. But there is another part of you that may still be working too hard even after your thoughts are quiet. The third secret is this: finish eating before your body begins preparing for sleep. Many people make one simple mistake every night. They eat dinner late snack while watching something or take one last bite just before bed. It feels harmless. Sometimes it even feels comforting. But the body does not experience late food as comfort. It experiences it as work. Digestion requires energy. Blood flow moves toward the stomach and intestines. Metabolism increases. Core body temperature rises. But deep sleep needs the opposite condition. For the brain to enter its most restorative stages, the body's core temperature has to fall. That gentle drop is one of the strongest signals that it is safe to sleep deeply. This is why you can sleep for many hours after a late meal and still wake up feeling strangely unrested. Your body was in bed, but part of it was still on duty. In Japanese daily rhythm, dinner is often treated as something that belongs to the early evening, not the edge of night. The idea is simple: the body should not be asked to digest and restore at the same time. It needs space between the last meal and sleep. So tonight, try moving your final meal earlier by even 30 minutes. If possible, leave 3 hours between dinner and bedtime. Keep late, food light, warm, and simple. When the stomach becomes quiet, the body can finally begin to cool. And when the body cools, the brain receives a message most modern evenings never give it. The fourth secret is this: let darkness arrive before sleep does. This is where many people quietly sabotage their own rest. They turn off the bedroom light and believe the night has begun, but for hours before that, their eyes have been staring directly into artificial daylight. A phone, a television, a bright kitchen, a glowing laptop. The room may be dark now, but the brain has already been told a different story. Your body uses light as a biological clock. When light fades, melatonin begins to rise. Melatonin is not a sleeping pill inside the body. It is a signal. It tells your cells that the active part of the day is ending, and recovery can begin. But blue-rich light from screens can delay this signal, making the brain behave as if evening has not fully arrived. In traditional Japanese homes, evening light is often softer, lower, and less aggressive. The atmosphere changes gradually. The day does not collapse into night all at once. It fades, and that fading matters. This reflects a deeper Japanese sensitivity to environment. The space around you is not separate from your state of mind. A harsh room creates a harsh nervous system. A softer room teaches the body to slow down. So do not wait until bedtime to create darkness. Begin 1 hour earlier. Dim the lights. Lower screen brightness. Use warmer light. Put the phone farther from your face. Because once the eyes stop receiving signals of daytime, the brain can finally begin its descent into night. And the next secret uses the body itself to deepen that descent. But even after your mind grows quieter and your body begins to cool, one more signal is still missing. Secret 5. Use warm water to tell your body that sleep is coming. Most people think a shower before bed is simply about getting clean. Some even skip it because they believe it makes little difference to their sleep. But the body responds to warm water in a much deeper way than most of us realize. When warm water surrounds your skin, blood vessels near the surface gently widen. Heat moves outward, and after you step out of the bath or shower, your core temperature naturally begins to fall. That small drop is exactly what the brain has been waiting for. It is one of the biological signals that helps trigger deeper, more restorative sleep. For generations, Japanese families have treated the evening bath as something entirely different from a morning shower. It is not rushed, it is not another task to complete. It is a quiet transition between the demands of the outside world and the stillness of the night. The purpose is not only physical comfort, but preparing the nervous system for recovery. Try soaking in warm water for 10 to 15 minutes about an hour before bedtime. There is no need for expensive products or complicated routines. Simply allow your body enough time to cool naturally afterward. You may discover that sleep no longer feels like something you chase. Instead, it arrives almost on its own. And yet there is another habit that quietly teaches the brain exactly when that moment should begin. Secret 6. Repeat the same evening ritual every night. One of the biggest mistakes people make is expecting the brain to recognize bedtime without any consistency. One evening ends with television, another with work, another with endless scrolling. Every night is different, so the nervous system never learns what comes next. The Japanese approach is surprisingly simple. Rather than searching for the perfect sleep technique, many people repeat a few small actions in the same order every evening. The actions themselves are not magical. Their consistency is. Neuroscience explains why this works. The brain constantly looks for patterns. When the same sequence happens night after night, those behaviors gradually become conditioned signals. Heart rate begins to slow. Cortisol decreases. The brain starts preparing for sleep before you even reach the bedroom. Your ritual does not need to be complicated. It could be making a cup of warm caffeine-free tea, reading a few pages, writing a short reflection, or preparing tomorrow's clothes. What matters is not which activities you choose. What matters is repeating them without constantly changing the order. Over time, the ritual becomes a language your body understands. Instead of wondering when sleep will finally arrive, your nervous system begins guiding you toward it naturally. But there is still one final habit, and it may be the quietest of them all. Most people never think about it yet. It could be the reason they wake up tired no matter how well they sleep. Secret 7. Protect the quiet space before sleep. This may be the most overlooked habit of all. Most evenings end with one final burst of stimulation. A last video. One more social media post. A quick check of tomorrow's weather. None of these seem important on their own, but together they prevent the brain from experiencing something it desperately needs: silence. Japanese philosophy speaks of ma, often described as the meaningful space between things. It is not empty time. It is intentional space that allows the mind to settle before moving into the next moment. Modern neuroscience offers a similar insight. When external stimulation finally stops, the brain's default mode network becomes more active. During this quiet period, it organizes memories, processes emotions, and reduces mental overload accumulated throughout the day. Without this pause, the mind carries unnecessary noise straight into sleep. Creating this space is remarkably simple. Turn off every screen 15 or 20 minutes before bed. Sit quietly with dim lighting. Listen to the sounds around you, instead of filling every moment with information. Allow your thoughts to come and go without chasing them. At first, the silence may feel unfamiliar. That is because many of us have forgotten what an unstimulated mind feels like. But after a few evenings, something changes. Sleep becomes deeper. Mornings become lighter. And rest begins long before your eyes close. When these 7 quiet habits come together, you begin to understand something the Japanese have practiced for generations. Deep sleep is not created in a single moment. It is prepared patiently and gently throughout the entire evening. In the end, better sleep is not really about doing more. It is about removing what keeps your body from remembering how to rest. This is the quiet wisdom behind many Japanese habits. Danshari teaches us to let go of what is unnecessary. Not only old objects, but also old patterns, late night stimulation, unfinished thoughts, and the habit of treating exhaustion as normal. Matanai reminds us not to waste what is precious. And few things are more precious than the hours that prepare your body for deep recovery. Kaizen reminds us that change does not need to be dramatic. One small improvement, repeated gently, can reshape an entire life. And then there is the meaningful pause. The space before sleep, the silence before the next day begins. The quiet moment where your nervous system finally understands that nothing more is required of it tonight. So do not try to change all 7 habits at once. That would only turn rest into another task. Tonight, choose one thing. Eat a little earlier. Dim one light. Put your phone away 15 minutes sooner. Take a warm shower without rushing. Write down what your mind keeps carrying. Create one small ritual and repeat it tomorrow. Not perfectly, just consistently. Because your mornings are not only created by the number of hours you sleep, they are created by the way you end your evenings. Tell me in the comments which habit you will start with tonight. I read every single one, and your answer may help someone else realize they are not the only one waking up tired. And if this video gave you a calmer way to think about sleep, subscribe to the channel for more quiet Japanese habits that help you live with more discipline, simplicity, and peace. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.